Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome to Bold Confidence with Gina. I'm super excited to be here with you on this beautiful, amazing Monday morning. And what a journey this has been. An absolute crazy journey. And I'm going to do my best to not cry and not be emotional. It's been when you're on a crazy high and you're trying to do something and achieve something, and you finally do it, the adrenaline crash and the adrenaline of everything happening is just overwhelming. So I'm going to try to keep my emotions intact today, but I've had so many people ask a lot of really good questions. And so it's about time, and I even had friends say, I didn't know you were doing this. So I'm going to share with you in this live, and you're welcome to watch the replay later. Join me, say hello, and bear with me because I'm super nervous, but I'm super excited to share with you guys why I did a bikini competition. What were the struggles in all that? What were some of the life changes that happened? Just a little bit about the journey and answer some questions that you guys have about dedication, commitment, motivation. What was I eating? Why'd you get started in this? And heck, you're 50 years old. Why are you doing this? Well, I'll be 50 in a few months. So this journey has been absolutely crazy. So let me just start by saying thank you for being here live with me. And if you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. But I want to personally thank all you guys. I can't even name you, but I want to personally thank every single one of you, all you guys that are here for supporting me in my journey of just entrepreneurship and my journey into fitness and all that good stuff. And this bikini competition, my very first bikini competition, has been a journey. So I want to personally thank you for your support and your love. Oh God, okay, so again, I'm not gonna cry, but your support has meant more to me than you can imagine. So imagine climbing a hill that's so steep that you are wondering how the heck are you going to get up that steep hill, that mountain by yourself? And you have bold confidence women like you that are cheering you on. You can do it. You got it. Go up that hill, girl. Own it. Get it going. And this last weekend, I literally was on top of the hill, and there were moments in the competition. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. There were moments in the competition that I literally thought about you guys, and thought about all the women that feel alone, all the women that are persevering their own personal goals, all the women that are doing and trying to do big things in their life. And I thought about you guys because there was a moment over the weekend during the competition that I wanted to leave. I'll share that with you in a minute, but oh hell, geez, I'm so sorry. But the journey of climbing a hill is tough. So I thought about you guys, and I want to personally just thank you for supporting me and being there with me and cheering me on the whole way for this last 11 months. So the reason why I did a bikini competition, I want to ask you a question, because this is a question that I found myself, I faced myself last June. I had this conversation with myself. I'm looking at my goals, because you know January 1st, we're gung-ho, right? We're like, it's a new year. I'm going to do this, and this. Well, come June of last year, I realized I hadn't done crap. I hadn't done anything that was on my list of goals. Sorry, guys. Had a moment. But last year I had this moment that I hadn't achieved anything that I wanted to achieve. And I had this moment with myself where I was like, I was a victim. I was blaming everybody else. And I was bullying myself that I wasn't good enough, capable. I was just bullying myself to death. But I was just one of those self-love junkies where, have you ever just studied something and you're in personal development and you're doing all these great big things? My eyes are so blurry from crying. I can't even read some of this, guys. So bear with me. Yeah, so I literally last July, found myself just bullying myself. And it was one of those come to Jesus talks with myself where if you've ever asked yourself, okay, you can either continue doing nothing with your dreams and nothing with the things that you want to do. You can stay in your comfort zone of doing nothing, right? And that was my conversation I had last June, was like, you can stay right where you're at, Gina, or you can actually take the actions and do something about it. And it was in that moment last year for myself that I was like, okay, I got to make some changes. I'm tired of my weight. I'm tired of fluctuating. I'm tired with my business going up and down. Everything in my life was just stagnant. Everything in my life. And if you know me well enough, you know the last 3 years has been really like hell for me. From losing my family, filing for divorce, to reconciling, to healing a marriage, to relearning things with my husband, and then having a teenager, drugs, suicide, just dealing with so much. But last year I realized it's my time. It's my time. And I literally was facing my goals, facing myself, asking myself, Gina, are you going to actually move forward and take the actions and do the things that you need to do? Or are you going to sit on your butt and complain? Are you going to whine? Are you going to look for excuses? Are you going to make the changes? And that's when I changed everything. I decided to quit bullying myself, that I was not fat, but just that I was fluctuating on my weight. So after my third son, a lot of you guys can relate to this because you have children, but after my third son, I was 186 pounds. And I'm 5'4.5", maybe 5'5" almost on a good day. I learned this weekend at weigh-in, or at height and weigh-in, I was 5'4.5", and I was like, oh my God, I shrunk. That's because I'm getting older. But you realize that, oh, I forgot where I was going with that, but God, this is crazy, guys. So anybody want to help me out? Where was I? Brooke, where was I? So anyway, I decided to make this massive change, stop bullying myself. I was 186 pounds after my third son. I've been complaining about my weight, and to dive into some of the questions, some people ask me, have I always been a gym rat? This is, my friend Anna Wells asked, have you always been a gym rat? Have you always been, have you gone to the gym? You know, where did all this start? My weight. Thanks, Brooke. After your third son. Yes, thanks, Adrian. I'm finally on the roll here. So I literally made those changes because my weight was so high. I actually got down to about 145 pounds last year. And what ultimately changed me, and I don't want to miss this, but my best friend was competing. She's an NPC bikini competitor for the last 3 years. Her name's Emily. And if you know her, and most of you guys probably don't know her, but she and I were single moms, went through a divorce, and about 12, 14, 15 years ago, we met raising our kids. They were like 2, 5, 6. They were young, and we did everything together. And we were single. We were poor. I was overweight. She was pretty thin. But what I'm trying to say is, I saw her competing. And for years, I told myself, I don't have the butt, the physique. I couldn't do anything like that. What would people think of me in a bikini doing the back pose and doing all these things? And if anything, I just said I couldn't do it. There's no way that I could do what she does. I don't have the physique or the genetics. That's what I thought. And then I had a misperception of what these women, I just thought they were naturally beautiful women that did these things, right? So I had this come to Jesus talk with myself, and I decided to go to her next competition, which was in Dallas last June. And at that weekend, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pray about it and I'm going to think about it. And in my head, I'm like, I'm so going to talk myself out of this. I am not doing this. But I went to this competition. Long story short, the women's stories, and you guys know me, I love stories because just like mine, I might inspire you or encourage you to make one little change. And that's what it was for me that weekend, is these women's stories were coming out of abusive relationships, single moms, a 58-year-old woman. It was her birthday that day, and she was competing because she had autoimmune, thyroid, she had all these medical issues, and the doctor said, you need to eat better and strengthen. You need to go to the gym and just strengthen yourself. She found a passion in it, and her story just changed me forever. The 28-year-old that she was broken, single mom. I've been a single mom, so I know what it's like, changed me. And me just telling myself, you've had enough. I've had enough of bullying yourself and to make the change. So let me answer some of these questions because I don't want to get too wordy because I can do that. And but let me just dive into some of the questions. That's my why. My why basically in a nutshell was I was tired of bullying myself, tired of thinking I couldn't do what other people do. And I was seeing people fly by me professionally, physically. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You're always like, damn, look at her, damn. But you don't know her story, right? You don't know, you can't compare your story to anybody else's story because you don't know what they've walked, right? Like you probably didn't know I was 186 pounds. You probably don't know I have 3 kids, filed for divorce, going through all this stuff with my family and my children just 3 years ago. And here I am today taking, massive action, but really I took massive action between my head. I decided to just reverse and make myself aware of the things that I was saying to myself. Now, I found myself saying, one day I wish I could do that. And that's where you got to tell yourself, no more. Because really, is your one day really going to be next week? Are you really going to do that next week? Are you really going to meet your fitness goals, your diet, your weight goals next week? Are you going to start that one thing? Are you really? No, you're probably not, right? So that was me. I was like, no more am I going to tell myself one more day or next week or I wish. No. I drew that line in the sand and I took bold action and took control. I'm tired of the shitty committee, excuse me, but I'm tired of that committee inside telling me I can't do things. I know my faith is stronger than my fear, and that's what it has to be. Okay, so I'm gonna answer some questions. I'm gonna put on my glasses because you guys know, but this weekend, I'm gonna share this weekend story with you real quick too, because this weekend was crazy. I went into it with excitement and nerves, and I honestly had to reverse my thought process the day of my competition, my very first bikini competition. I was the oldest woman there. I'm 49, and I think there were some 40-year-olds there because there was a 40-year-old and over class, which I placed 4th place in. I was last, but that's okay. I'm not going to compare my 11-month beginning journey to those women's journey they've been on stage before. They've done all that and they have their own amazing story. So I can't compare. I was actually very pissed off and upset with myself that I was last. It took me a good couple hours to roll out of it and tell myself and remind myself that I wasn't there to place first place. I wasn't there to get accolades for first place and get all this acceptance. I wasn't there for that. I was there to prove myself right, that I can do it. And I honestly had to remind myself that I was there for me. I wasn't there for anybody else. I wasn't there for anything else but for myself. As scared as I was to be in heels And as scared as I was to be on that stage with all these eyeballs staring at you, and I'm by myself and I'm doing my turn and I'm showing my butt, and it's really not showing my butt, by the way. It's showing your glutes and your hamstring quads. They want to see the physique in your bones, your structure. They're not looking to see if I have a nice butt. Are you kidding me? It's so much more than that. And I say that because I think I can say this in this group, but one of the hardest things about this journey, guys, was that my dad was not there. My parents were not there to see me. Now, I give my mom an excuse because I kind of didn't really tell her because she's Hispanic and there's such a large language barrier with my mom and I. That's another story. But with my dad was not there. In fact, he does not accept what I'm doing. And I'll share this with you. It's pretty vulnerable, but he thinks, I shouldn't strut my stuff and thinks that I'm living a life towards the enemy. So for me, the hardest part of this whole journey, if you're wondering, was, not having my father there. Not having, when you're doing big goals and you're doing big things, you want the closest people around you to push you and say, good job, look how far you've come, And so not having my dad there was really emotional for me. And but let me move forward. That was the hard part. So anyway, there was a moment on stage 2. I had won 4th place twice in the 30 and over bracket and the 40 and over bracket. I won 1st place in my height bracket. Well, guess what? I won 1st place, but I was the only one in my height bracket. So I'm okay with telling you that I was the only one in my bracket and I won 1st place. Hey, it's 1st place, which, by the way, you guys, look at, these are my trophies. These are so cool. I put these out so you guys can see. These are my trophies. They're swords. And I thought this is appropriate for a Christian bikini competitor because we have swords of what? I can't remember the scripture, but it talks about your sword of faith and your sword. Pull out your sword of all the strengths that you need, right? To fight off the enemy. So this is pretty cool, and it's sharp. It's like legit. This sword is legit, and I got 3 of them, which is perfect because I dedicated each one of them to my 3 sons yesterday. And if you are a boy mom, or if you have boys or whatnot, you know that my boys were playing with these all day yesterday. So this was pretty cool winning this, but being 1st place, being by myself, was an honor and it was super cool. But I was in 3 categories. Well, I was in a 4th category unexpectedly. And I wanted to, that's the first time in 11 months I wanted to quit. I wanted to throw up. I wanted to poop my pants. But the announcer backstage that was guiding us, telling us where to go, where to stand, what to do, backstage, I was number 5, and they said, number 5, we need you back up on the stage. And I'm like, oh hell, what? And I'm like, me? What? So I walked up back behind the stage, and they're like, number 5, we need you. You're up next. I'm like, I've already went through my categories. What do you need me for? And he says, You're doing an overall posing showdown. I'm like, what? I go, why? They said, well, you won 1st place in your height, and the other 2 girls won 1st place. So, and they had competitors. So I was there with a 20-year-old girl that was, I don't know, I think she was probably about 5'8". And then I was 5'4", 4.5", and there was another girl who was 5'3". So I had to go with these other girls that won 1st place, and they had contestants in their category. So they called me, it's like, number 5, we need you now. Get up here now. And I'm like, I can't. I'm not going. And they're like, oh yeah, you're going. And I'm like, no. And this one lady is she's big, bulky. She's a big lady, like bodybuilding lady. She looked at me in the face. She goes, "You can do it. You can do it. You got this. Just follow the judge's lead. Just follow the judges. Just listen. You own it. You've got this." And I just told myself, I don't have this. Okay, yes. Get your crap together, Gina, and do this. Own all your hard work. Own exactly what you've been preaching about and talking about up on stage. Just game on, show up for yourself. That's all you have to do. Don't show up for anybody else but yourself. So all this went in my head super quick, although I wanted to vomit. And they put me in the middle of these two blondes. They were gorgeous, but they were in their 20s. One of them was a competitive cheerleader, just graduated from college. I think she was still in college. And the other one was in college, like med school, doing these amazing things, which is all good. But I was 49. I could be their mother. And they told me I had to do a posing showdown. So I didn't know what this was. This is a category I didn't sign up for. I automatically won it by accident because I was the only one in my height group. So I had to face these women, and the audience and the people out there said it was the longest showdown because there were other showdowns in the men's category and whatnot. They had us, okay, ladies, judges can't decide. This happened 3 times, guys. I'm up on stage with these 20-year-olds. Judges can't decide. So we need you to do a pose. Show us your best pose. Show us, who really wants to win this. And I'm like, oh my God. I didn't know what to do, guys. I'm like, I learned 3 poses. My front pose, my back pose, and my side pose. That's all that I learned. And they're wanting to do a pose off. You talk about scared to death. I literally wanted to vomit. But I went through it, just owning who I was and just showing up for me. And that's the biggest lesson that I learned on stage was I was there for me. I wasn't there for the 20-year-olds. I wasn't there for the judges or for the audience. I was there for me because I did it. So, all right. So that was a scary moment. I wanted to share that with you guys because when you think that it's not possible, or the next time you're fearful of something and you don't think you can do it, I want you to think about that story because it was so frightening for me. And my family was like, oh my God. Even my boys were like, oh my God, you look like you own the stage. I'm like, whew, I fooled you guys because I was scared to death. I had never been so scared, guys, in my whole life. Had you told me a year ago that I would be facing 2 women, Tamara was there. Love you, Tamara. Thank you for support and cheering me. Had you told me a year ago when I started to do this and I wanted to do this, that I was going to be facing 2 20-year-olds in a showdown, a posing showdown? Are you kidding me? I would have said, nah, maybe next year. And I placed last in 2 other categories. I would not have done this. I would have, I don't know. But the whole lesson is this, is that you're not there. You're not doing things for rank advancement. You're not doing things for the accolades or the achievement awards. You're doing your goal and you're doing your diet, your fitness, if it's professionally, whatever you have your mindset to do right now, make it about you. Make it about you. Is it time for you to show up? Is it time for you really to match your goals with the activity and be realistic with yourself moving forward? But the question is are you really showing up for yourself? Have you asked yourself those hard questions? And that's one of the things I wrote down for my notes was, crying. Okay, so somebody asked me, what does it take to be disciplined, to have commitment and motivation? So I'm going to share with you what it takes to have discipline, commitment, and motivation, okay? Not that I'm perfect, okay? I'm not going into this perfect because I've failed plenty of times, but but I'm willing to, which is in this lesson, I'll share with you, is being resilient. But let me tell you the first thing is questions that you have to ask yourself, okay? To do something, and I'm not talking about a bikini competition. I'm just talking about you and the thought that you have, the big God-sized dream that you have, the dream that you have, or the vision you have for your business, or maybe your health goals. Maybe you're wanting to be healthier and more fit. I've had a lot of women like me, they're turning 50 in the next couple of years, or they just turned 40, and they're wanting to make these changes. Okay, so here's number one, okay? You have to ask yourself some very hard questions. If this is a personal goal or business goal, 5 questions you need to ask yourself. The first one is, how bad do you want to change? Okay. Second question, how bad do you want to become better? Number 3, are you willing to put in the work? These are hard questions. I mean, seriously, you have to ask yourself these things. Are you willing to put in the work? Number 4 is, are you willing to make sacrifices? Are you willing? Number 5, and the last question is, are you willing to start showing up for yourself? Putting you first. And I don't mean, circumstances, you might have to put your children first, or coworker first, or your business partner first. But it's about time you put yourself first, right? It's about time you show up for you. And why not? And I can relate, because this was me last June, when I'm like, I do everything for everybody else. I have 3 boys. I have a needy husband. My marriage fell apart, and we are reestablishing that. Like, things got stable with my children and my husband. We have a healed marriage now. He's the hugest supporter. Life is good, but I was not good. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the self-esteem. I didn't think I could do it. I had been bullying myself way too long. And finally, I was like, you know what? I have not been showing up for myself. I've been listening to podcasts. I've been educating myself. I've been studying, and I've been reading and inspiring myself. Hell, how long can you inspire yourself before you take that first action, right? Like, I'm getting mad now, because that was me. I was mad at myself. I'm not mad at you guys. I love you guys. But I was mad at myself that I was in the same situation. And I was 48 last year when I made this change. And I literally told myself, if you don't change and make the steps and take blind action, do something, if you don't follow through, you're going to be sitting in the same spot next year and the year after and the year after, blaming everybody else. When really it's up to you, Gina. It's up to you. No one else is going to make me go to the gym. No one else is going to make me eat right. And the same is for you. So I want to share that that's the discipline and commitment and motivation, is ask yourself those 5 questions, okay? Go back and watch the replay. Write those questions down. Ask yourself those hard questions. And if you can say yes, you're willing to do the change, you're willing to become better, make the sacrifice, you're willing to show up for yourself. If you're willing to do all these things, then make a commitment and do it. Because people ask me, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? I could never do that. I could never do that. The truth is you can. You really can. I believe in you, and it takes one person to believe in you. But ultimately, it took me believing in myself, even when I felt like I couldn't do it. Like, do you think last year, even though I decided to be a bikini competitor and do this, I could do it? No, I didn't think I could do it. I couldn't even envision in my head what today would look like. My body, my mind on stage, all I envisioned was my mental stage, my mental capacity that I would have on that stage. So back up 10, 11 months ago, because people talk about envision your goal and achieving it. Okay, I could do that. I could see myself on stage, but I couldn't see what my body looked like because I'd never seen my body fit. I'd never seen a healthy side of me like this. So I want you to just think about your future and your mental stage. And if you're reverse engineering it and every day conditioning yourself to be resilient, that's my number 2 tip on being disciplined, committed, and being motivated is number 2 is how to be resilient. You have to be resilient, right? No one else is going to be resilient but you. So in resilient, the 3 little things I wrote down was picking yourself up, picking your own self up, right? And then when you fall down, if nobody's around to pick you up, who's going to do that? You are. Like, you have to do that for yourself, and that's showing up for yourself. The days that you don't feel like doing the day you don't feel like it, you're not motivated, the day you're like, I don't want to eat healthy, I want that pizza, so my son's trying to call and distract, so we have to hit decline. So you have to say it's a muscle that you're conditioning, and that's what being resilient is. It's conditioning your muscles, which is your mind, to pick yourself up even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't want to do it. You have to be resilient, and sometimes you take 2-3 steps back. So people ask me during crisis, how did I handle that? What did I do? Let me dive into that a little bit here. So during the crisis in quarantine, when we were total lockdown for a good 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe, was difficult. I had to do my cardio outside. I had to walk outside, and there were rainy days, there were crappy days. I still had to put on my hat, my baseball cap, no makeup, my tennis shoes. I had to go outside and do it. There were days I didn't want to do it, and it'd be 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, I literally would talk to myself and say the things. I would go back to those 5 questions I gave you, and I would ask myself those things. And the most one I asked myself was the 5th one. Are you going to show up for yourself today, Gina? It's 9 p.m. and I haven't gone to the gym yet. I haven't done what I needed to do as far as my activity to give me the muscles and the body that I desired for stage ready. And I asked myself these questions at 9 o'clock at night when I hadn't done it. Are you going to show up for yourself? And I'm like, at that moment, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm showing up for myself. I'm going to do this. So I go to the gym, but during quarantine, I would just go do my walk. Now, as far as weights, literally, guys, that was the toughest. For several weeks, I had to use bands. I went on Amazon and bought bands, $10. They're not expensive. I know Academy, a lot of places ran out of equipment. But if you went to Amazon, if you searched hard enough, you would be able to find bands, TheraBands, body bands, little bands, big bands. You could find something and do resistance and something, right? It was a struggle. It was not easy, but I had to be creative. I was resourceful, went online and tried to find what other women were doing. And I had to be creative in my house. Now, I moved everything out of my office and made a gym. I had yoga mats and I had some 5 and 10 pound weights. That's all I had. But I went ahead, and then my husband ended up buying a bench. He found one at Academy, and we just became resourceful and did what we had to do. So that was one of the things. Let me answer some of the other questions. Some of the other questions that Anna asked is, did I work out daily? Yes, I did work out 6 days a week. What was my heaviest weight and my least weight? So my starting weight and heavy weight, you guys, it's really different for everybody. What I lift and what my best friend lifts that's been competing for 3 years is so different. She's shorter, petiter, smaller than me, and she lifts more weight than me. So I don't want to give you a number because I don't want you to compare yourself, because it's easy for us to do that. But you have to start somewhere. And if you want some advice on where to start first with reps and sets, message me. I can give you some tips on that. But how long did it take you? 11 months ago, I started this training. 11 months ago is when I decided. I asked myself these 5 questions, and I hired a nutritionist and a sports coach, and I went to work. And I showed up for myself. But there were girls at the competition that I asked this one girl, she was 46 years old, and I asked her when she started. She said she's always been athletic and gone to the gym, but she never really did anything intentional. And that was me too. I've always been athletic, always have gone to the gym, but I always kind of went through the motion of things, but I never had something intentional. And when you are focusing on your body and you want like arms, you don't want jiggly arms, you have to intentionally know what you're doing. You can't go into something and not know what to do. I mean, okay, if you don't want jiggly arms, someone's gonna lift bicep weights or you have to do triceps too. You have to work your shoulder. You have to work all the muscle groups, the form, the structure and body that you want. And it takes time. This didn't happen overnight. Like it took a lot of time, a lot of training, and every day. In the 11 months, I can tell you, I probably missed the gym maybe twice. I don't even remember those 2 times, but I know there's a couple times I missed. So I hope that answers some questions. Nutrition, people had a lot of questions. So no, I'm not vegan, but my body does better if I were to be a vegan. But I like meat too much. But no, I'm not a vegan. But there are vegan competitors, and there are vegans that I know that are going to compete, but your trainer and nutritionist will give you the foods and structure something that best fits you. So my meal plans and nutrition was very structured to the science. For example, just in general, like I would have, I had different seasons, and I'm thinking of which season am I going to tell you about, because I had a bulk season where I build muscle, and then I had a lean season where I just had to deal with the muscles that I had, and then I would lean body fat. Now, misconception, a lot of people think fat turns into muscle. That's not the case. That doesn't happen like that. I learned that. My coach taught me that's not what happens. You don't turn fat into muscle. You have to lose the fat, right? And then you gain muscle what you have. So if you have no muscle, then protein, healthy protein diet for you, and nutrition. So to build muscle, you have to have microfiber tears a little bit. And that's what creates the muscle to grow. And it's something with repetitive weights, lower reps, and lower weight and higher reps can create that tear, that slight tear that you desire to grow the muscle. But each set you'll increase your weight. So you want something that's going to challenge you. And that's another story in itself. When you're trying to increase your weight and gain strength, a lot of people tend to gain muscle and think that they need to lift heavy. Well, bodybuilders lift really heavy because they want big, massive muscles. But if you want toned muscles, and a lot of women, that's a misconception too. I want to straighten out right now that if you lift weights, you're not going to get big and bulky. Okay, I can't even tell you how many times I heard that story, that I'm going to be bulky by lifting 5 pounds. So if you think I'm bulky, then I don't know what to say. But if you lift weights, you want to structure your body. That's all you're doing, and you're gaining strength when you're lifting weights. So don't be afraid to lift weights, because the weights is what's going to structure nice definition, nice toned body, right? And who doesn't want no flabby arms, strong legs? You just want that. So my nutrition consists, basically in a nutshell, I would get choices and I can structure what I wanted, but I had options of fish, chicken, or ground lean turkey meat. And I need some water real quick. I'm still dehydrated. They depleted me. My coach depleted me. I was only sipping a little bit of water like Friday, Saturday. Yeah, for 2 days, I barely had any water. So I've been dehydrated for the last two days. But anyway, so when you're building your muscle, don't be afraid to lift weights. It's very common, very normal. You're burning more calories. I don't know what I said, but yes. So it's very important that you have enough protein to build the muscle. And for me, my workouts were at noon, like lunchtime. So let's say you have an hour break from 12 to 1 or 11 to 12. You have an hour break and you're taking 45 minutes to the gym, which is plenty of time for you to go to the gym during the lunch hour. Because a lot of people say they don't have time. We'll go before work at 5 in the morning or go at lunch for an hour. Make yourself go to the gym and do something. Don't be afraid, but my carbs and my protein, I had more carbs in the afternoon because carbs is good, by the way. People think, oh my God, I need to be high protein and low carbs. Well, everything really depends on your personal goal. But for me, I'm going to share, I need energy and carbs provides me the energy that I need, right? And I had good carbs, the correct kind of carbs that's going to, like I had white rice a lot, or there was another kind of rice, but rice in general is very good for you and gives you healthy carbs and gives you the energy that you need to put into your body so you can lift that heavy weight. And I'm not talking lifting like 50 pounds and you're going to be a bodybuilder, but even like 10, 15 pounds is hard. When you get to the 15th rep, you need energy to fulfill every rep. If you're finding yourself not getting to your last 2 reps because you don't have the energy or you're too tired or you're going to the gym tired, it means you're not giving your body the right kind of foods. And that's the thing, just like you do with your children or your plants, you give it good food. Like you want to give your body good food, right? And trust me, I love food. I used to work out just so I could eat, right? I was that person for years. I would do cardio and work out just so I could go out and eat. But I actually got to a point where I wanted to change. I wanted to see how far I can push my mind and my body. I wanted to see what I could be at 50 years old. And that was my gift for myself. Turning 50, I wanted to be the best version that I could be. And that's what I reminded myself on that stage when I was scared to death because I was the oldest woman there and I had to be in this random category with 2 20-year-olds. I was scared, wanted to vomit, and I had to remind myself that I was there for me. I wasn't there for anybody else, but showing up for myself and with my best body that I could have as a 49-year-old, because I don't have a 20-year-old body, and I'm not trying to have a 20-year-old body, and I'm not trying to be skinny. I want to be, personally, in my mind a year ago, I was like, I just want to be really fit. I want to look like that girl works out. Like she stays in shape. She takes care of herself. She loves herself enough that she takes care of herself. I want to be that. And really for my kids, I have 3 boys and they don't have kids yet. I want to see their kids. I want to be around. And so as you get older, you tend to have these shifts where you're like, either you get settled where you're at and you think it's too late, or you settle stuck because you don't know what to do. And I want to encourage you that it's never too late. If you're 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50, it's never too late for you to be the best version of you. What does that look like for you? Go back and ask yourself the 5 questions that I asked you in here. Ask yourself the 5 questions that I gave you. Go back, watch the replay, write those questions down. Ask yourself, these are key questions that are going to help you push you to the next level. If it's personally or professionally, ask yourself those things. So let me go back to some other questions. Nutrition, did I answer everybody's question on nutrition? Does anybody have any questions on the food or the nutrition? Yes, I had vegetables. Now there's carbs in vegetables, which is great. Okay, I told you guys there's a bulk stage and then there's a lean stage. And I told you that you can't build muscle and lean your body at the same time. That's not how it works. That's why you hear other, in this sport, you'll hear bulk stage. Well, that bulk stage means is my nutritionist gave me a lot of carbs so I could have the energy to lift a lot of weight and heavy weight so I can build the muscle that I needed for this competition, right? So that was probably in December and January that I went full. I was like eating a lot. My calorie intake was probably about, I'm going to guess, it was about 2,200, 2,400, I think. The lowest that my calories were about 1,600 calories, somewhere in there. Maybe on some days, 1,450 or 1,550, but my average calories per day during all these months and even on my lean stage was about 1,600, which a lot of people misconception and they think that I'm starving or like to compete or to have this amazing body, you have to starve yourself. No. I've learned so much, guys, and it's not that. He has me eating at 6:30 in the morning, 9. My lunch is at 11. I eat again after my workout and I have my protein shake. And I eat dinner at 6 o'clock, and then I have a protein shake, a casein protein shake before I go to bed. So that was kind of my routine, and I hope that answers your question. My diet and food just changed, but I always had oatmeal in the morning with my protein shake because the oatmeal balances out your blood sugar. And so it's very important for us women to have, and for me, I know I get kind of that hyperglycemic where if I don't have enough, I just have to be careful with my blood count. But for the most part, having oatmeal in my protein was really, really beneficial. So, and then during my lean stage, we basically cut a lot of my, my rice. So we just kind of cut back on cardio a little bit, and as closer to the competition, cut back more cardio. And then peak week is what they call intense week. And that's a whole other story. And nobody's competing in here. And I don't need to give you advice, but my peak week is totally intense because during peak week, I totally take an overload of carbs, an overload of water. And then there's a portion of the time where they take away all my carbs and they're feeding me protein and protein and protein so we can make sure the muscles are like really efficient and massed and fully, grounded for stage ready. So, and right before the competition, I had no sodium, no water. I was actually taking some certain supplements to help get rid of every ounce of water I had within me. So my body looked lean. So if you saw my abs, that was probably pretty helpful because I had no water intake in me. But yeah, so that's the nutrition. I hope I answered the question. Young girls who say thank you. I don't know many young girls who would literally eat about 1,000 calories starting as, yeah. So my nutritionist was really big on Gina. He goes, I'm not ever going to make you cut your calories. I'd rather give you a little bit more cardio and keep you eating the amount of food that your body needs and nutrition that you need. So make sure you have a really good nutritionist and sports coach if you're going to be a bikini competitor. If you're thinking about doing this, then contact me. I'll give you my trainer's name. But you definitely, everything's a science and everything's structured on what you need. So maybe you're really thin and you need to gain muscle and some body fat. Well, then, you'll be structured to be eating something that's specifically for you based on your nutritionist and the guidelines for you. And if you're trying to achieve a certain muscle mass look, most people are probably more overweight and they want to lean out and gain the muscle. So that's why I compared the two so you guys knew that you can't gain muscle and have this physique and be skinny at the same time or lean at the same time. I hate using the word skinny because I don't like that. So we can talk about that more a different time. So let me answer another question. Let's see. I had, where were the moments you wanted to give up? Okay, well, where did I want to give up? Actually, during training, I was so laser focused. I never felt like giving up. I knew from the day I made the decision and I asked myself those 5 questions I gave you guys earlier, I knew that I was going to show up on that stage. And my competition was rescheduled 3 times because of the crisis. I sat in uncertainty and unknown if we were even going to have a competition. They didn't even announce that we were going to have a competition until about 4 weeks before I competed. They actually said, we're actually going to fulfill and do this competition. So my competition was rescheduled 3 times before I knew I was actually going to be on stage. So I had to make a decision. Was I going to show up for myself and stay committed to my goal? And so go back, rewind, ask yourself the 5 questions that I gave you to achieve your goal and to be committed and disciplined and motivated. Those are the 5 questions that you have to ask yourself. And those are the questions that kept me motivated. I would say that the question that Anna asked was, what was the hardest moment that you wanted to give up? And that was backstage on Saturday. When you're actually, you could work so hard up to something, and when you actually go live on an event or you go live on your website and something goes wrong, right? You're like, oh, you feel like giving up. You feel like taking like the curtain, shutting it. So I was backstage, and I mentioned this earlier, but just a really short recap. I was backstage and I freaked out. The backstage announcer that was organizing all the girls said number 5, which was me, we need you back up here. And they're looking through all the girls, number 5, and I was done. I did my 3 categories. And I walk up there, I'm like, I'm number 5, and they're like, well, we need you back up on stage. And I'm like, for what? And they're like, well, you won first place in your category, your height category. So which I was the only one in my height category. So I was like a dead giveaway for first. Thank you very much. But I'll take the sword anyway, my fancy trophy. I was like, okay. And they're like, but you have to do a posing showdown with the other 2 girls that won first place in their category. And they had other contestants in their category. And they were 20 years old. One was a competitive cheerleader, had the broadest shoulder, cute little butt. I mean, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I'm not going. And they're like, yeah, you're going. We need you. Number 5, up here. And I'm like, nope, I can't do it. There's no way. I shouldn't be here. And this one lady that was back there, she's like, you can do it. You can do it. You've worked so hard for this moment. You can do it. And I'm like, I looked at her and I'm like, I'm telling you, I had the look of fear. I was so scared. I wanted to quit that. And honestly, when I finished the showdown and the pose down, it lasted forever, guys. They couldn't, and I don't know. They couldn't make a decision. The judges, they kept announcing, the judges can't decide. We need you to do one more showdown. And they kept repeating that 3 times. We had to do a showdown and give our best posing. And I didn't practice for that. I didn't practice posing. You kidding me? It took me forever to walk in heels, let alone pose in heels. So anyway, that was the moment where I wanted to quit. And I actually thought of my Bold Confidence group and said, okay, I need to show up for myself. I'm here for myself. I'm not here for anybody else. And I need to set the example. I thought about all the women that are in this group that struggle. We all struggle with self-confidence, and we all want to be better and do better. So how are we going to do that? Just showing up for ourselves and doing it anyway. So I got up on that stage and I did it anyway. I was up there with 2 girls that were very experienced and younger. One of them actually, I will say, it was her first time on stage, but she was amazing. And so yeah, that was the part where I wanted to quit. So get going. what got me going, I think that was my why. Gail Brown asked, what did you get started changing? How did I change my eating habits? So how did I get to do that? And I already talked about what I ate daily and how often I ate, which I ate regularly. But the last question I'm going to answer, because this is probably a long video and we probably should go, but how did you get started changing eating habits? That's a good question, because a lot of people struggle with, I can't do that. I don't know if I can do that. Well, like I said earlier, those 5 questions, and then being resilient. Like, are you willing to be resilient, right? But changing your habits starts really in baby steps and one at a time. You know, for me, if you're going to do a competition, for me, I have to go cold turkey. I either have to do it all or nothing. I have fluctuated with trying to live a healthy lifestyle. You heard that, right? Eat a healthy lifestyle, but come, you know, a social event or a cookout, you're like, oh, it's a hot dog. I got to eat a hot dog. And then the next day you have another cookout. And you're like, oh, I got to have a hamburger. You know, so your healthy lifestyle turns into this like, this is not working out for me, right? So I had to go cold turkey. And for me, and what I would advise you, because not everybody's going to be a bikini competitor, I advise and encourage you to just look at what you're eating and feel yourself as far as how you're feeling after you eat it. Are you tired, sluggish, bloated? Like, don't eat it next time, you know, or change it. Like maybe turn all your meats into fish or ground turkey, lean turkey, or vegan patties. I like those veggie patties. Those are really, really good. So you have to structure, stop eating fried foods, have more steamed vegetables, make sure you're portion controlled. I grew up very, very, very poor, and my brother and I used to fight over food, and we would be like, who's going to eat the most sandwiches and who can eat the most tortillas and fried bologna. It was just crazy stupid. So I had this habit of overeating all my life. So make sure you're eating, like my vegetable intake was a half a cup. I measured everything. My chicken and fish, 4 ounces. 4 ounces. And that's before it's cooked. So it's something to think about if you guys are wanting to eat healthier, but don't not eat and don't miss breakfast, because that's not good for your body. Your body, first thing in the morning, needs water. So make sure you're staying hydrated, and it helps your skin. Like my skin is in the best condition because I've been drinking so much water. So those are just a few tips on changing your eating habits. Just take a look. Like I even changed my barbecue sauce. I found a sugar-free barbecue sauce, and sugar turns into fat. So that's the first simple thing that you can like notice is like, okay, this orange juice has a lot of sugar in it. Okay, well go find a sugar-free, orange juice. Or maybe don't drink orange juice and drink water. Like you don't have to have orange juice, do you? I mean, I love orange juice, but so just you're gonna have to make these switches and listen to your body. What if too much meat? I know too much meat makes me stopped up. I can't go to the bathroom, and I have to change my diet. I can't have a lot of meat, and I like meat. I like a good steak. I like a fillet. So I have to be careful on my intake of meat. But I also drink plenty of water. I have enough fiber, and I'm taking really good supplements. So if anybody needs any supplements or some advice on that, I have a great company that I use for my protein shakes and my supplements and your fish oils and Gatorade and all that stuff that you need in your body. So I hope I answered your questions. I'm just going to end with, your personal journey is different than mine, different than hers and hers. So don't look at people around you. Look at yourself. How can you be better today than you were yesterday? That's kind of like my post. What can you do today that will make yesterday jealous, right? What can you do today that's going to help you tomorrow? What's going to make you like you feel crap today? You ate too much yesterday. It was a weekend. What are you going to do? Have more water? Eat less portion control. Change your diet a little bit and just start simple. And But remember that a marathon, I wrote this down, so I'm looking down. A marathon is 1 mile at a time. Stairs, like even just to get to the top of the stairs, is 1 step at a time. So what is the next step for you? So if you're watching the replay, I know this is really long, but what's the next step for you? You know, if it's healthier or professionally, what is that 1 step for you to get into the right direction? So make sure that your goals and your activity match, and be realistic with yourself, and don't give yourself a hard time, and quit bullying yourself, okay? And lastly, start showing up for yourself, because no one else is going to lose the weight, gain the muscle, start that business, be confident. No one's going to be that but you, right? And that was me. That was me a year ago. I'm like, oh crap, I can't keep waiting for things to happen for me, because they're not. I have to create that. I have to do the crap that I don't want to do, which is smaller portions. I like to eat. I like a second plate, please. I like a large pizza by myself, please. I like a bottle of champagne, please. But I can't, you know, those are sacrifices. Those are those 5 questions. Are you willing to make some sacrifices for achieving the things that you want so you can feel good? And I'm telling you guys, I feel good at 49. I feel so good. It feels good feeling good. And I'm going to own it, because for years I felt fat, underachiever, poor, victim. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm showing up for myself, and I'm going to do it proudly. I didn't mention it, but I want to tell you, surround yourself with people that are going to uplift you. Don't be with Debbie Downers, negative Nancys. Don't be with the dream crushers. Be with the people that are going to make you, pull you up, and make you better. So find those people. Ooh, don't get me started. Don't get me mad about this subject, because I've had people and friends leave me because I was getting better. Okay? I'm not gonna cry, but I'm just saying, find those people. If that's this group and that's here with me and we don't know each other, stay here. Connect with me. Comment. Tell me what you need. Let's inspire each other. Let's push each other to be better. Why can't we? No one else is going to do it but you. You. And you can do it. You can do it, guys. All right. Whew, that's a lot. This was a long video. I'm so sorry. I love you guys. I hope this helped. Comment. Tell me what you think, what you liked, what was your takeaway. It really would help me. I want to make sure I'm speaking to one person. That would be nice. Okay, love you guys. Be blessed and show up for yourself. Bye, guys.